Ashlynn Meuchel. I'm a 5-star 3-day event rider. I've been riding since I was 4 years old, and now I'm a grown-up 27-year-old. My primary event horse is Emporium. He's a 13-year-old Dutch warm blood that I've had since he was 5. I started him at the novice level as a 5-year-old, and he's been going advanced now for 2 years and at the 4-star level for the last 2 years. And then we've started 2 5-stars together, so he's brought me quite a long ways. As we kept progressing up the levels and the workload continued to increase, problems also kind of increased, especially his management problems. I was having a very difficult time keeping weight on him, getting him to eat, and I tried different grains to make him interested, switching it up. At one point, I was feeding him just a senior base grain with like 2 other grains mixed in, and then molasses on top and shredded carrots on top, just to try to get him like, come on, boy. He'd be interested and pick at it, and then, you'd come back in the morning and there'd still be half of it, and you're like, I just want you to eat so bad. But he just wasn't hungry. He was like truly, truly anorexic. It was mentally very stressful for me because I knew that my horse didn't look like he should, and I had a couple of vets talk to me about it actually. They're like, what are you doing for this horse to manage him? And I said, he's on all the stuff. I just can't ever catch up with him. I can't get him in good condition because every time I go anywhere, he loses 200 pounds on the trailer and I can't keep up. And it was defining my competition schedule. I couldn't go all the places I wanted to go because I knew that he'd be too skinny by the end to be presentable, essentially. So it was limiting me that way, and then it was just a constant stress. By the time I got to the spring 4-star at Jersey Fresh, he looked bad. He wouldn't consume a single item of it. He just wouldn't eat. And I got there and I trotted him up, and the vet came and talked to me afterwards. And she knew the horse because she'd seen him at other competitions. And she said, I know this one's hard. And I said, I'm so sorry, I'm trying everything I can do to get him to eat, but he just won't eat. And there's not, I'm shoving oil down his throat at this point to try to get calories in him. And I was like crying, and she was like, I didn't mean to make you cry. And I was like, I can't figure it out. I feel bad for the horse, and I'm frustrated and losing sleep over this. And I was just like, it was just a mess. Then we scoped him and found out, obviously he had stomach ulcers, which clearly he did. After that show was when things, we did sort of the regular approach and things improved, but it still wasn't quite on the right track that I felt it could be, because it had been improving, but not as good as I thought it could be. So that was when I found you guys, and it's just been so much better. I think I had a friend who had tried the spirulina chia on her horse down here that had hives. It had a hive problem, and she swore by it, and I was like, it cleared it right up. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And Theo never presented with hives, but I was like, he's got a lot of other issues, so. So I called, just said, I have this horse, I can't figure it out. I've tried everything, what do you guys recommend? And at that time, I didn't actually even know about the feed. I just knew about the chia, and I was like, maybe this could make a difference. So I called you guys, and then the rest is history. So we started, I think, just with the chia as kind of where the jumping off point. And then we changed him onto the St. Foin pellet and the season's feed alongside the chia. And then we did the Equibiome hindgut test kit to find out what was in his microbiome. And we found out that there was not a lot. Or almost none, because just the stress of his lifestyle and also being on hardcore pharmaceuticals for several months had probably wiped out his entire hindgut microbiome. So that was how we started. We started seeing results pretty quickly. His body condition started to improve, his anorexia started to go away. Overall, I was able to start feeding him more normally. Instead of feeding him mountains and mountains of grain, I was feeding him smaller, more regular meals of the forage product. By the spring, I took him to an away show at Red Hills, and he was eating the whole time, which was like a miracle because he never eats on the road. One of the biggest changes I've noticed with him on the feed is that he's well for the first time in a really long time, and it's sort of a big concept to explain. I can't pinpoint one thing that's really turned around, but just the whole horse and who he is as a horse, he's just well for the first time. He just feels better overall, and he's just healthier than he was, and you can tell that as a rider and as his friend, you notice just being around him that he's just better and he feels well. I would tell someone who's thinking of trying StableFeed, absolutely. And I recommend it to everyone I come across. And if they have a mystery horse, I'm like, just try it. Yeah, I recommend it to everyone I talk to about it for sure.